Hello everyone and welcome to the Simply Colorful FiberCast. Today's date is April 3rd, 2015. My name is Lynn and I'm your host. Happy Friday! Tonight we're going to be working on the Camper Quilt, that just won't go away. We're also going to talk about springtime and the holiday weekend, and also talk about the Simply Colorful header and the irony that it's actually black and white. And we'll talk more about that. So I hope you've had all had a good week. Grab a project, because you know what FiberCast is all about. We sew together, we spend time together, we keep each other company, because it's amazing what we can get done in 60 minutes. So welcome. I'll dig right in, and then certainly at any point send me email like you always do to my complicated email address. It's lmarquidant@gmail.com, or post on the Google page or the Facebook page for Simply Colorful. Love to see what you're working on. I'm going to do, and speaking of the Facebook page, I posted a picture of the quilt design. I'm trying to put some paper piecing in amongst the freeform campers that we're making. And we'll see if it works. I have been using EQ7. I used an irregular shape layout to start with, and now I've just been filling things in. And I wanted to, what you see behind me is some random stuff. I started to put the houses together from last week that I had made, the little pieces, these. Remember those little houses? And I originally thought I was going to put houses just back and forth all the way around the border, but the houses were getting lost, so I ended up creating the borders that you see behind me. I might keep that, I might not. So that's what I'm doing. So what I wanted to work on tonight were some of the connecting trees, and they're big paper pieces, so we should get a fair amount done, and we'll throw them up there with the other pieces and see if we can get something to work here. I've decided not to make it be a really big quilt, because I guess I've lost a little bit of interest in it. And I have been doing some thinking about, well, do you keep going with something that you've lost interest in, or maybe you're not thrilled with, or do you put it aside, or do you power through? Right now I'm trying the power through approach, and there's no guarantee by next week we will have put it aside or not. So we'll just see what happens. I got some beautiful fabric last week. This is basically by Moda. It's very very subtle, but it does have like what looks like some brush strokes on it. So let's just do a quick paper piece for the tree. And I'm back here in front of my Bernina. Boy, did we have fun last week. Retreats are very fun, that is for sure. Okay. I should know better than to talk and do this paper piecing. Like always, it just takes me a while to get oriented, but then it'll be fine. You get in a groove. And I bet I'm not doing this in the right. I'm not. Okay. We're going to do the trunk first. Trunk and two sides, then we'll put the green on. And the trunk and two sides will be easy. Easy peasy. So I hope it's spring where you are. It kind of has here in the Northeast. I'm using all different kinds of my neutrals. Just like the campers are on a neutral, I want to have a lot of neutrals so that then ultimately we can either draw or embroider things to make the campers go together. Like, I don't know if you saw my sister Karen. For those of you who might be on Pinterest, and I still don't know how Pinterest works, I've discovered Pinterest. Ruh-roh! She sent me I hear a ding. She sent me a picture of a camper quilt that's really cool, and it has a lot of those flags. And so that would be fun, I thought, to embroider on after we get the basic bones of the quilt together. Okay. Let me do at least one successful seam, and then we will see who that is. Remember when you're paper piecing to reduce the size. I've got it down to 1.7 of your stitch, size of your stitch, that is. Thoroughly enjoy my new Brother machine, but must admit it's nice to get back in front of a smoother Bernina. They both have their place. Okay. So finger press that over. Not big enough. Hang on. This one I must have washed in the wash with something pink, because it has some pink staining, but that will be fine. It's very subtle. Last Sunday when we got home from the retreat, I must admit I was exhausted. 3 days of nonstop sewing wore me out. Okay, so this is good, this is good, this is good. Aha, who's out there? Okay, let's check. So here we have the basis, the trunk of our tree. Let's see who's out here. Oh, I knew it was Chris Myers. She says, to think 1 week ago we were all together. I know, I was thinking that today too. That was so fun. Thank you for the gifts. Since I saw you, Chris, and anyone, I finished this pin cushion. Remember I had made that? I don't know if you can remember. And I had made it originally for this camper quilt, and I ended up not liking the fact that you couldn't see a whole bunch of differentiation. Now I kind of like it. Anyway, I filled it with walnut shells when I got home. I love it. The pins go in and out so much easier than any other pin cushion I have. So it's my new favorite. Anyway, it's amazing. I hope you've had a good week, Chris. Hello to @QuiltEd Online. Thank you for your retweet. Chris, for those of you who might remember, had her friend Deb, now she's all of our friend, came in from San Diego. And what a treat to see Deb. Deb, if you're out there, hello. I know it's earlier. You're probably just getting off work, if you're off at all. But what a great example that quilting brings such a nice community together. And friends. And Deb lives a mile from Eleanor Burns's quilt shop in San Diego. So for 2 years now, she has brought things like a guide to the size of quilts. She gave us an Eleanor Burns bag about strip quilting. Sorry, I'm struggling with this because it's a big paper piece again. Talk about forgiving. These big trees in the middle. See, I want to have these big trees as spires up amongst the quilt, amongst campers. Okay, so there's the tree. Now let's just take this new piece of fabric. All right. This one I might even need to piece because knowing my luck, it will move. So the other thing that I wanted to preview, and I know I'm a little ahead of myself. I should have waited until later in the program, but next week we have Karen from Pennsylvania will be here with me. So we will be sewing together. I can't believe it's come already. She's coming up for the hockey tournament. And in fact, well, I'll tell you that in a minute. I just heard a ding. Let's see who's out there. Jean! She says she loves those blocks. Thank you. I love watching your process on this project. Okay. Well, thanks for letting me know that because it feels very disjointed, and I was wondering if it was. I'm in that valley. I don't know if you guys ever think when you're doing projects if you ever get to that point, but I'm crossing the valley, and I'll either fall in and it will be a disaster, or I'll get over it and it will turn out. But this one is a very loose process. And thank you for being here with me to do it. I mean, it's totally self-indulgent to have people around to do this with. I'm loving it. Anyway, Jean says, I'm re-knitting an Afghan tonight. It was too skinny the first time. Ah, that big, beautiful yarn you have. Oh, I miss the group fun. I know, me too. Me too. That was really fun last week. It flew by. It was interesting that it flew by so fast. But the Afghan that you had is beautiful. Send us a picture. Maybe I have a picture. Here. So this is the Afghan Jean is working on. I don't know if you can see that. She makes it with size 30 some odd needles, and she showed me the fabric. The fiber is very big, and it's actually made to specification overseas to an artist here. And the fiber, literally, it's like when you're first learning how to spin and you make yarn and it's got some big wobbly pieces and some little thinner pieces. That's what it's like. It's beautiful. And I'll be interested to see how wide it turns out. I actually started knitting that hat, so I'll show you that next week. That'll be something that I'll put on my list to make some progress on. Okay, so I only have one more seam on this one, and I purposely told myself it was going to be okay if I made my foundation blocks very big, or the pieces of fabric that I'm using very big, because then I'm going to use these pieces, maybe not the green, but I can use them on my smaller foundation piecing. So I'm starting big and going small so that I can use up the scraps, is my thought. We'll see how well that works. Oh, I'm liking this already. Let me move this over. For anyone who was at the retreat, or maybe anyone in general, how do you like this new iron? It's a Black & Decker Classic, and it's incredibly heavy. And there's no water. And I'm liking it. Okay, so here's the question. Do I use the same fabric or something slightly different? I think I'm going to mix it up. Okay. Yay! There we go. This should be one. Check this out. How's that for unconventional? Huh. So first we will cut away the excess. I'm going to finger press. I just heard someone ding. Okay. Now for Sarah, who's out there, I hope you're out there, Sarah. Thank you for the ride home. This scrappiness probably drives you crazy, but there is tree number 1. So I think what I'm going to do is just put it right up on the board for now. Yeah. You know, we could hang laundry underneath the trees. Let's do another tree. What the heck, we're on a roll. We'll do, for this one, for good or bad, I am doing 6 trees all in this same color. I'm going to make their trunks different. But I thought it might be fun. So I hope everyone is having a good week and planning for those of you who are celebrating holidays this weekend. I hope the weather is looking good and spring is springing where you are. I'm hoping it doesn't rain here too much tomorrow. Ah, Maureen in PA. Ah, she said, your iron just brought me back to my childhood. I know. This was at Walmart. And it's so heavy. I'm loving it. Okay. So now I have my 2 pieces for either side of the tree trunk. These trees sure go faster than the houses did last week. Wasn't it fun to see what everyone was working on? Oh, and several of you have sent me notes, and I hope that each of you can see the notes. Maybe I'll go to my iPad and see if I can pull some of them up. Linda, hi Linda, I think, sent me a picture of a camper cover for a sewing machine or a toaster. Love those. I finally got smart. I put a trash can under my table here. You should see some Saturdays after FiberCast on a Friday night around the feet of the sewing machine is just covered with scraps. We love scraps. Scraps, scraps, scraps. Okay. There's another trunk. This is so easy. And again, this is a pattern or a block that's right in EQ. So after I went and used the irregular shape layout, because remember, EQ is nothing but layering of objects. By that I mean, first you're going to, in what they call a sketchbook, you're going to decide what layout is. And that's one layer of your design. Then, once you decide that, so it could be any layer, it could just be just a straight 5-inch by 5-inch patchwork all across, or it could be a hexi quilt designed all across, or it could be a bunch of churn dash. Well, no, that wouldn't be right, because that you're putting a block in. It's just the grids within which you're going to put your blocks. So that's the first layer. Then the second layer is, once you have your grid done, then you pick blocks to put in. And this tree block that I'm working on is literally in the library. I didn't have to draw a tree or anything. I could just pick the tree, select it, and plop it into the layout. Then, the third layer, so that's the second layer. Again, your quilt, you're just building up layers, can be colors. So once you've got your blocks in there, then you can overlay colors on the blocks. You can actually take pictures of fabric. You can import your own fabric, look and feel. Sky's the limit. You can actually, and I haven't gotten to this, I did try it before I left last week quickly, but I couldn't get the hang of it in time. You can take a picture, import it into Electronic Quilt, and then draw around it and create a block from that picture. So ultimately, I'd like to do that with these campers so that maybe there's a paper piecing approach rather than the applique that we're doing here. Just something that, another option. I'm going to pin this again. Ooh. So, don't be afraid of Electronic Quilt. Hopefully it's available for Mac now. I don't know for sure. But I like it. Ooh, and I like the dings. Who's out there? An Electronic Quilt, like anything, takes time to learn. But it seems to have been worth it for me. And I'm not very patient, as you know. If it hadn't been, I would have abandoned it if it had felt too hard. I just know that about myself. I hope I don't regret using this plaid. Can you see that? I don't think I will. And then maybe I'll use this for the other. So, let's talk a little bit about the Simply Colorful banners. As you may or may not have noticed, the new banner has bright green spools of thread and thimbles behind the Simply Colorful word. And I want to thank Karen out in Pennsylvania for doing that for us. I love it. And the idea is that, and the irony of it is that the actual Simply Colorful design, the logo, the words that say Simply Colorful are actually black and white. And for those of you who are around 10 years ago, I can't believe I'm saying that, actually 12 years ago, when Simply Colorful was started, and we were doing oh, hooked rugs. The Simply Colorful was a rainbow colored effect. And that's what I used back then. So we wanted to refresh it, of course. And we played with different colors, and we looked at things like the color of the year, or then, of course, Karen found different design sites that have color combinations, which are wonderful. If I were smart, I'd use that on this quilt. But anyway, we ultimately arrived at a black and white banner, so that now with seasons, with new things that we do, we're just going to change the colors in it. And I'm loving it. It's like this fresh thing. So thank you, KB, for doing that for us. I'm actually looking forward already to the next one. So check that out, tree number 2. And there will be, I think, what are there, 6 trees in the design currently? So we'll see how that works. Let's see who's out there. Oh! I see some tweets, some texts. Speaking of Karen, Karen says, what did she say? Oh, I see a picture here. She says, hi, I love, love, love the plan for the quilt. Really? I'm so glad you said that. Can't wait to see you next week. Could you arrange some nice spring weather for us, please? I will try. I will try. I can't wait for you to get here. Karen says she's working on a t-shirt quilt for a friend's son tonight. Not nearly as fun as your project. Ooh. What stage are you at? Are you putting on the interfacing on the back? Oh, but think of how happy the son's going to be. Jean taught me how to do that. I've seen her buy big bundles of that interfacing. Joni S. Hi. She says, hi, everyone. She was only 4 minutes late tonight. Glad to see what you're working on. I'm just watching you tonight. Oh, and I have to go to Google to see the rest. I'm sure, like we always say, Fridays can sometimes be tough to pull out the project. I'm going to see who else is out there. It's checking for email. Ooh, downloaded. Many of you are out there. That's the beauty of a new phone. That just happened so fast. Okay, so hello to our new joiners, to Vicky, to Avery, to Joan G, to Dee, hi, to Maho, Sherry, Sue. Let's see what Sue says. She's still plugging along on my Dear Jane blocks. Did B2 and B3 today. My first time doing curved seams. And she says, hope you have a happy Easter. Thank you. Hope you have a happy Easter too. And I love your curved seams. Look at you. So here's B2. Very striking design. You can't get much more contrast than that, can you? I like that. Look at you. Oh, I love the buttons. And then this one's B3, and I like how you're labeling them all. So hopefully people can see that. Rock on. Joyce, if you're out there, Joyce was sitting next to me at the retreat last week, and I would look over, and every couple of hours she'd have another Dear Jane done. She had, you saw that pile. She did several last week. Let's see. Hello, Susan. Hello, Rebecca. Hello, Gail. Hello, Maggie. Maggie says, okay, so this came in last week, and I wanted to let everyone know this. She said, so Maggie is not far from where we were last weekend up in New Hampshire. She's in Manchester. Hello. She says she likes to house pincushion. Thank you. And what a great idea for all of you who survived that much snow in Boston, wasn't it? So again, that was a Sarah Kokanowski design. And Maggie says she's new to FiberCasts. Just found us this week. Well, hello. She was under the weather. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. And didn't have much energy to do anything constructive, so she was cruising around YouTube looking for quilt videos to watch and found us. Well, welcome. As you know by now, it's not much of a teaching hour. It's more just we get together and sew together. So welcome. And we keep each other company. Oh, and you have the Dear Jane book, and you've been deciding which ones to make. I tell you, Susan Norton, the blocks I just showed you, she hasn't been doing it for that long, but she's picked it up. And maybe if you go look at some of the ones she started with, which were more straight lines, and that we all started with, you can't go wrong. Any of them with just the squares, go for it. And we'll do another Dear Jane soon, and I'll pull out some to look at. And she says, so in closing, Maggie says, and she's not sure whether to make them bright, fun colors or just different blues and creams. Decisions, decisions, ... I hear you. Welcome, Maggie. Oh, and Patty, down in Texas, last week, Patty said hello to us, and Patty is a frequent writer in her. Is that a word? And someone at the FiberCast asked where she was from. I think it was Sarah, because Sarah's spent some time in Texas. And the answer is Brownwood, Texas. So thank you for sending that, Patty. And, oh, she's sewing Kleenex covers for pocketbook-sized tissues. I love those. Chris, who's on the line, made some for me years ago. And we've done them for our quilt shows. Those are great. Great. Well, welcome, Patty. I wonder if Jennifer's out there, Jennifer Dale, or Delwyn. Hello to you down under. It's Saturday morning where you are. Let's do one more of these trees, and then I will do, I think I'm going to do some flying geese. You see how little those are? I think I'll do that. But I'm liking how these trees are coming together. And each one has a different trunk. I do not need another piece of fabric for as long as I live. Now, who out there thinks I am going to keep to that? Okay. Oh, I have the hiccups. What's up with that? Oops, just goofed. See what I did wrong? I put the lines that I'm supposed to sew on down, so I couldn't see them. Who's going to the Vermont Quilt Festival? Or who's going to MQX? I bet Chris, you may have already been there. If I'm getting my events all, the Machine Quilting Expo. Chris, as you might recall, is one of our machine quilters, Dockside Quilting. And I believe she was going to a course on accounting. But I only half overheard that in the car this past weekend. Anyway, Vermont Quilt Festival is coming up at the end of June and July up in Essex Junction. And when Sarah and I were driving home last week, she told me her Batchelder Tree of Life quilt is going to be on display there. Isn't that great? For anyone who hasn't seen that quilt, it is a work of art. You will see that, I predict, in the Shelburne Museum someday. It's literally more than, I hope I have this right, I think more than 100 ancestors, right? I always get this mixed up. On this tree that she has created. Starting with her parents. And it's just a wonderful Vermont story. And now, of course, the family has grown and spread its wings to places far and wide. Speaking of which, hi Jean, hi Faith, down south. I hope all is well. Faith, we're sending our love to your family. You know what I always tend to do when I'm doing these paper pieces and I flip it over like that to go sew? Oftentimes I end up getting a piece of the fabric folded over, and then I catch it. So I have to be careful about that. Because then what happens is you'll see me, I have to go clip it, and then, like I'm doing right now, I'm going to reattach it down. I probably don't really have to do that because see, I did it again. See what I mean? So somehow I catch that little piece. So what's everyone working on? Is everyone heading out to the gardens? I know that's on my to-do list this summer. So I won't be making as many quilts. But like last summer, what did we do? We did a lot of finishing up projects. We did our picnic quilt. Don't do as I just did. What a mess. Okay. I hope it's not snowing in PA anymore. Hasn't it been a crazy weather? Seems like almost every Friday this winter we'd say things like, well, snowing in Pennsylvania, that means it's on its way to Massachusetts. Or it's snowing in Chicago. Or it's snowing in Kentucky or Missouri. What a wild winter. Someone's there. Oh, and I have a feel-good story for you, too, about my neighbor. Okay? So we're getting there. Who's out there? Ah! Chris says she's going to MQX all day next Friday. That's right. She also says, I do not need another piece of fabric as long as I live, said no quilter ever. True. Very true. Sandra, she says, Happy Easter. Happy Easter, Sandra. She says, I'm just watching with my coffee tonight. Started a baby hat for an NICU spring challenge last night, but I have to think too much to watch you too. That's funny, Sandra. I love you. She says, Love your campers. Have a great week. Sandra in wet and cool Mississippi. Well, enjoy your Easter. Enjoy your family around you. And I love that. Send a picture of your hat, too. I'll send you a picture of mine. I'm making one that's a Dear Abby flavored one, and I'm actually making the very smallest one they have. It's a baby hat, and with any luck, it's going to fit Jean. But don't tell her I told you that. Okay. Ooh, Maureen says, your iron just brought me back to the childhood. Okay, we did that already, didn't we? Oh, and Joni, so here I can see the rest of Joni's message. Joni has recently moved, as everyone knows, and she says she's watching tonight, still working on my sewing room. I'm getting close to being able to sew and do all of the fun things I've missed. Oh, but she's doing an Easter egg hunt on Sunday, so I don't want rain either. Happy Easter to you. Aw, no, rain isn't good for Easter egg hunts. That sounds fun. I love your puppy, too, on your pictures, Joni. Excellent. Let's keep cranking here. See, I said I don't want to waste fabric or cut fit. Oh, brother. Brother. Becky McDonald, if you're on, hello. We're so glad you could join us at the quilt retreat for a first time. Hopefully you're hooked. Becky was the one who does the calf facet quilts, and she was on the show last week. She showed us her, what is it, a pinwheel that has the rickrack on it. And come to find out, so that was Friday night, she was supposed to be in Seattle working. Hopefully no one is watching that needs to know that she was there. I think it was all legit. Anyway, she was with us, and come to find out, she goes to Gay Head every summer for 2 weeks in August with her family and friends and dogs, and does a lot of quilting. So KB, when you and I are down there this August, we might have to go a-calling with our machines. So be thinking about packing your machine. And if you don't want to, I'll have one for you. Or Mom will have one for you. Can you believe we'll be doing FiberCast from there in just a few months? I can't. Where does the time go? It's just a good reminder that we have to make the most of it. And do what you want to do, baby. She says after a long week of work. Of course, work is a must. So there's one half. Put this away. And then maybe, I think I'll do this on the other half. Carol, if you're out there, hi. See you Sunday. Oh, I wish I had one of the stickers. So, in addition to us doing FiberCast next Friday night, well, let me back up. Bob's band, Bob says hi, by the way, and he and the band are downstairs right now playing away. And they have decided that for Patriots Day here in New England, which is two or three Saturdays, the 18th of April, that Saturday night, they are going to play, the band is, up at the Rod and Gun Club around the corner from where we live. And so now they're all excited about putting together the set list and practicing. And then it came to inviting people. And Bob has put together this mailer with the brightest yellow stickers I've ever seen in my life. And the sticker says something like, please invite anyone in the whole wide world that you know to come. They don't want to play to an empty room. It's the funniest thing. I'll have to post a picture of it and you can see. So, and meanwhile, next weekend when KB and her husband, the drummer, are in town, TG Bob, TG has offered to help Bob's band practice. So, of course, Bob is all excited about that and has been gathering the set list and having me print it out. Oh, it's like Christmas around here. He's so excited. As you may or may not know or remember, we live in the town where the Boston Marathon starts every year. So for one half day, the center of town just becomes a mecca for runners. And there are helicopters overhead and news crews. Did you get that? All right, that rhymed. Tree number 3. And it's really usually a lot of fun because it's springtime. Let's see. So you guys are getting the idea. These trees are going to be somewhere around here. This is going to be cool. So there are going to be trees around. Now, let's see if we have time to make one of these. In addition, on the design, there are some triangles, and they're meant to, I guess, I was thinking either represent more trees or represent stepping stones or just a design feature. They may not be needed, but let's try one. And I thought we'd make the back be off-white so it blends in. And then I think some of them are yellow and some of them are teal. So let's see, I have some teal here. See if we can at least do one of these fast. These are addictive. They're so fun. So A1. These pieces may be a little too small for this, so I think what I'm going to do then, stay right there, I'm going to use yellows. So it's another night in the Simply Colorful studio, and now you know the banner story, and you can look forward to colors just like I do. I am not doing this right. That piece isn't big enough. Hang on. Oh, isn't this yummy? It's a batik. I got it last week. Oh, I love it. That should be big enough. That little... KB, this is where I need you to tell me how to cut these pieces out. In fact, I overheard people talking about this at the retreat, that with paper piecing, it really does make sense to, if you're going to do a lot of the same, to cut out my pieces. Because this, I spend way too much time trying to figure out where to put each piece. All right. Gorgeous. Can't beat that yellow. I did that again. What I'm doing wrong here. All right. Maybe it's catching on the underneath of my machine. Okay. Let's try this. So we're starting there. Now we'll do another yellow piece. I can decide which one I want to do. So we just keep building it up. And what's fun about this is once you build it up, then when you go to true it up, that's when it really comes alive. Looks pretty messy, but you just keep cleaning it up. Oh, someone's there. And boy, my thin Aurifil is perfect for this. And my sharp needle and my thin stitch. And I'm not even using newsprint. I'm using my printer paper. You know what I'll do is I'll true this up just to give you a feel for what I mean. So even just that little bit on the bottom starts to come together. I just noticed the lighting might not be very good here today. There'd be a lot of shadows. Aww, KB! I love that idea. She says, next week I can be your paper piecing assistant just like a surgical nurse. I love that idea. And I'll take turns. I'll help you too. Seriously, so you could like hold it up and just show me where to sew? That would be a dream come true. Oh, I have shirts for us to wear next week. So everyone just stay right there. I'm getting shirts. So next week, KB and I will be fashioning some shirts. And you'll have to tune in to see which one of us will wear which one. So I love that, KB. And that will be April 10th. Wow. Let's see who else is out there before we close out. Again, thank you everyone for the Easter wishes. Oh, good. Patty, hi Patty. She says, this week I'm working on my bow tie quilt from Missouri Star Quilt Company. Block Volume 1, Issue 2, she says. Oh, that's great. She says, thanks for FiberCast. Well, thanks for tuning in and keeping me company. And Jean just has done some homework on some retreats. And there's one Lakeshore Farm Inn. Oh, doesn't that sound lovely? And there's one at UMass Lowell Conference Center where Thimble Pleasures goes and where County Line goes. So we have some homework to do. Ah, thank you, Jean. I will look at that. So again, welcome to all our new viewers. I think I will probably keep going on this. I will post some progress I make over the weekend. I'm going to go outside and do some yard cleanup where the snow is not. We still have a lot of snow here. But I'm also going to do some more piecing, and I'll share that with you on the Facebook page. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for keeping me company. Really appreciate you all joining in and supporting FiberCast. Certainly, I have a blast every week, and certainly next week we're going to have a real blast because there will be two of us here in front of you. So thanks for joining. Have a great week, everyone. Bye.